Alright guys, welcome back to VALORANT News. With the season playoffs coming up very shortly in the Americas, Sentinels and 100 Thieves were the two big North American teams not to make it, and rumours are emerging they might be considering some sort of trade deal. Sentinels have certainly rumoured over the last 24 hours or so that something is going to change to their roster. Is it going to be a massive deal? Could they even make a change with the roster lock in effect? Very much intrigued to hear your thoughts in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you enjoy. Subscribe if you're new as always, I'd greatly appreciate it. Plenty to get into. First of all, just wanted to mention some of the teams that have now officially qualified for Masters Tokyo. This is going to be the trophy here, June 11th through to the 25th. This is going to be on offer, and the three teams from the Americas are not yet confirmed, but the three teams from the Pacific most certainly are. These are the latest ELO ratings actually from Dephh Montero, which is, we can see the Americas here, Cloud9 getting the number one, of course, Fnatic in the EMEA side, but PaperX now leading the way in the Pacific region. Ever since they brought in something, they've been looking very promising, especially after their result in their series last night, taking that number one spot away from DRX for now. We know that DRX, when the pressure isn't really on, they don't seem to care too much, to be honest, and they do this tweet kind of saying, oh, you know, well done PaperX, you managed to get a victory on us this time. But it was a very impressive series here from PaperX last night. Well, it was actually yesterday morning, right? But DRX got pretty much crushed by PaperX in this one. It was a 13-5 on Fracture, 13-6 on Bind. You don't see that every day from, a team like DRX going down in this manner. And ever since something has joined, they've got a lot better. All their star players turned up here. It was actually a dominant series performance. And, again, we got some neon action on the Fracture. And okay, Forsaken didn't have the craziest numbers, but, PaperX at their best again. And a really impressive result against DRX. Now, maybe DRX will think, well, it doesn't really matter too much. But fundamentally, you lose a series like this, it means that in terms of seeding going into Tokyo, things could be different. You probably want to get that number one seed, ideally from the playoffs in your region, to secure the best possible seeding at Tokyo, but maybe DRX don't care. They want extra warm-up time earlier on. So congrats to PaperX. They secure their first spot in the finals. DRX are still qualified for Masters, no problem at all, but definitely an interesting result for that region. Also, though, T1, they got the job done against GenG. Expected, I think, that they would take them down, as I mentioned yesterday, but yeah, good stuff for T1. Feel a bit bad again for Zeta, just because they got pretty close to beating T1, and if they had have done, maybe they'd have been in a better spot to actually take this against GenG again. But yeah, Zeta and Co is also atting some of the guys on the Cloud9 team because he used to be over there, and it would be pretty interesting to see them potentially face off at that event if the Cloud9 guys qualify, which they probably should do. But that's also now confirmed they're going to make it to Champions in LA based on that performance. So yeah, T1 2-0 versus GenG. Pretty comfortable series, 13-10, 13-10 again on the second map as well. So GenG expected. They've fallen off a bit over the last few weeks, but at T1 qualifier and another Korean team will make it there. No Japanese representation as it stands from Zeta Division, unfortunately for the home fans. This is how things looked, of course. That 2-1 series against Zeta will definitely, well, they'll be frustrated about that one because T1 got the job done again. They beat GenG twice on their way all the way through, and now it's DRX T1 going on in a few days' time, and then the grand finals will determine the number one seeds from the Pacific region. But in the Americas and EMEA, things are starting up relatively soon as well. Also, ShahZaM and Co from G2, they're getting ready for a boot camp actually to try and make sure they're well prepared for the Challengers playoff side, because they got crushed in their regular split, but they did well enough in split one of the mid-season invitational to make it through to the playoffs regardless. So that's a big deal for G2. They will have to turn up, and that is certainly their plan over the coming days. One team though that's in a very interesting spot is Sentinels. They failed to make it all the way to the playoffs in the Americas. They did improve. Their losses early on came back to bite them. Their team obviously wasn't working. They made multiple changes, TenZ stepping away, Marved coming in, and once they finally found a roster that was capable of beating Furia, it was kind of too little too late. Okay, they just needed to win one more map in that Furia series and they would have made it through because NRG 2-0'd EG, but I think that defeat to EG the other week, the 2-0 they lost to there, that really put the nail in the coffin for Sentinels, and they failed to make it through to the playoffs. So should they want to make any changes, would they actually be able to make any changes to their roster? We know there is a roster lock in place of some sort or another, but there might be ways around it in some ways. If you get permission from Riot, potentially as like a trade could happen, it feels a little bit weird in a way that the roster is locked for effectively the entire season, even if teams want to make changes going into into the last chance qualifier. There's a couple of months now before the last chance qualifier begins. There's Masters Tokyo next month, and then after that the LCQ comes around for the final Champions qualification spot. If they believe they need a change, I feel like they should be able to make one, but maybe the rules don't allow it. So Sentinels come out with this yesterday, roster update tomorrow. Now, as soon as I saw this and the other tweets around it, I immediately thought, alright, this has got to be bait. It's just Sentinels impression farming, and there's still a large part of me that believes it probably is, but I feel like they've got to be doing something based on the evidence we're going to dive into here in the coming minutes. So Marv drops the kind of like sad face with the crying thing, and Zoms is like, yeah, sorry little bro. And when you see this, you're thinking, alright, he's just joking around. There can't be anything going on. They're just having a laugh. Now, maybe this is still true. Kaplan also does the upside down smiley face emoji, and Drew Spark, their assistant coach, says, yeah, this is all fine. It's absolutely crumbling, but it's all fine. So I don't really know what's going on. And then we even get Zelsa saying, wow, Sentinels, I can't believe this. And when you see this, you've got to think it's most certainly bait. And apparently zyppan was on stream last night kind of joking around about the whole story as well. So maybe they just bring it in like a new sixth man, just because I guess Sick is technically their sixth man, but probably that's not a thing anymore. So are they going to make it Asu? Are they going to make it Tarek, right? Maybe that's what they're up to. Maybe they're going to make some changes for the coaching staff again, just because they've made some changes there before, and I wouldn't be surprised if they do so again over the coming months. But yeah, dapr drops the wow as well. So nobody really knows what's happening here. But then we get Ye, who wades in and says, basically, I am preparing to learn Portuguese, which is pretty funny timing in a way, just because obviously Ye is struggling on DSG right now. He wants to get back into the tier 1 level at some point. I still think he's got what it takes to compete at that level with the right teammates around him, but he hasn't been especially impressive on DSG with a tragic run they have had so far. But of course, right, the Sentinels team with Sassy Pancada, Portuguese players, I think Ye's just joking around, but it's definitely interesting timing nonetheless. And also Ye joining Sentinels, it doesn't really make any sense from the roles perspective anyway. But if Sentinels were to make a change, what is the most likely change, and what should they actually do? Even Rob Moore, right, their CEO, who's been instrumental, we believe, in many of their changes, for example, the coaching moves they made, comes back and says, I got one more in me, and, Dapper's like, thanks, Rob. So, I don't know what he's planning here, what he's plotting to do, but maybe they think, and I can understand why, they failed to qualify for the playoffs. Some of the teams that qualified over them, like Evil Geniuses, it's a big failure from Sentinel's perspective not to make it. Yes, they had a lot of chaos around their team, and there were some problems with it, but still, failing to make it is kind of unforgivable for what Sentinels were trying to do this season, and maybe they think, you know what, we need further changes. Can they make said changes though? That's the debate, and Zekin kind of drops the cowboy hat emoji here as well. Pancada's like, miss you kids. So I just don't think they're going to be doing anything here, but some people have rumoured that maybe Zekin could be gone and potentially making some sort of trade with 100 Thieves. That's the present rumour that's going around, because if you look at the numbers here, 100 Thieves failed to qualify, as did Sentinels. That's a big loss for both of those organisations. Maybe they feel like there's a way that they can make some moves between them and try and improve both of the rosters. Some people have said maybe like an Asuna Zekin swap, which I don't really understand why that would be the case. The only way I can see that happening really is if like Asuna really wants to join Sentinels, if there is a new head coach of Sentinels such as a Sean Gares, which of course he used to be at 100 Thieves. He's now at Shopify Rebellion as like a content creator type figure for them. So I don't know if he wants to return to coaching anyway, because he clearly stepped away for a reason, so I really don't understand that one. And then you even have this, which I looked up on Rob Moore's account, and I couldn't actually see this, so I don't know if he unfollowed them shortly after this, or whether this was completely made up. But apparently Rob Moore followed Asuna and Sean Gares very briefly on Twitter. If you go to his account now, you won't find any of this, right? I'll just refresh just to make sure here. But yeah, if you look at Rob Moore Esports under who he's following, you'll find that he's following these individuals. These are the most recent people he followed, and that we've got no Sean Gares and no Asuna on here, but apparently he followed them and then potentially unfollowed them. So either he's baiting around as well, or there maybe is a little bit something to this. Could they even make this move? I don't know. There's rumours that maybe if it's just a trade, they could make it happen, but Sentinels would be such a strange decision if they were to get rid of Zekin, right? I don't think they'd do it. I mean, he's basically been their best player lately, in my opinion. He's been super good for them, so I don't really understand that one. If they were to go down that route, I don't think Zelsis' team as well, with ShahZaM, dapr, Shroud, Zelsis, and TenZ is necessarily what they're going to be going for, right? Obviously, we saw this a little bit briefly not that long ago now. Kind of a crazy theme, it's got to be said, compared to what we have today. But yeah, look, will Sentinels look to make a move? Because going into the last chance qualifier, are they confident with that team of 5 that they presently have that they can win it and get to champions? Maybe, maybe not. Maybe they feel like they need additional help, either on a substitute player or on a new coach, or just making additional changes, and you can understand why they might consider it. But I can't really see any obvious change, or especially obvious trade, with any team such as 100 Thieves, for example, that actually improves both rosters or really makes sense for either party. So very much intrigued to your thoughts in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new, take care, and I'll see you next time.